Hello, I'm Ann Green, and welcome to We've Got Books. And boy, do we ever. We are two authors, myself and James Yarborough. We are coming to you from the big sky country of Dallas, Texas, where everything is bigger, friendship, football, and family. We'll be your hosts for We've Got Books, and we're excited to tell you about our newest books, as well as interview other Christian fiction authors about their books. We'll sit around the table chatting to get to know each author and her book. Today, James Yarborough is interviewing Jill Chapman about her Bomb Squad series books. So, Jim, the microphone is all yours.
Thank you, Ann. Well, Jill, welcome to We've Got Books. Maybe we could start by you telling us a little bit about yourself. Could you do that?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me today. And I just wanted to let you know that I am definitely a family gal. My husband and I love to spend time with our children and our grandchildren. We have 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren. My love for collecting art supplies outshines my ability to produce the art. So that my hobby is collecting art supplies, and then I do art on the side. I love to get into my studio and paint, and then I also am in there writing some days too. And my newest obsession is creating wax seals for cards for presents.
Wow, that's a unique talent. How long have you been writing, Jill?
I've been writing for a long time, from the time I was in middle school and throughout my whole life. And the writing has always depended on what I needed at the time. I've written programs for my church. I did a newsletter for our local homeschool organization for many years. And around 2019, I began to have that desire to be published and wrote the Bomb Squad. And then it was published in 2021.
Well, the Bomb Squad, that's a great title. What sort of Christian fiction do you write?
The Bomb Squad is, I have 3 books in that series, and they are middle grade. So that's that tween age, 9 to 12. Tweens love to read the story about Brian and his 3 mischievous friends. The boys and Max, which is Brian's rambunctious yellow lab, get into a lot of trouble, even when they're not looking for it.
I can imagine the books are a lot of fun. What's your book's takeaway?
My desire is to write stories that are filled with adventure for young people. I always want the story to reflect friendship with children, like for the friendship they have together, and then Christian principles. And the goal is to show those attributes and not ever be preachy to the young readers that I have.
A great point. Preaching doesn't always seem to work, does it?
Never.
Why is writing fun for you, Jill?
I have a brain that never stops. I always have what if scenarios in my mind. And in life, that can be a bit exhausting. But as a writer, it creates many avenues for my characters. I love putting them into situations that are funny, but are filled with adventure. My books create excitement, but they're not fear-based. I also have a YA novel that I've been working on for 4 years, and someday my character maybe will get to tell her story.
Well, I'd love for you to give us some details about one of your books. Could you do that?
Sure. The first book, The Bomb Squad, is the first book of the series, and it's a story about Brian and his 3 friends and his dog Max, like I told you before. And the story begins on July 4th when Brian accidentally sets off the community fireworks. And the boys earn the nickname the Bomb Squad. Their parents are mortified, and the boys are sorry that it happened, but they do love their new nickname. And so the book centers on friendship and what it means to be a good neighbor. And when a new neighbor moves in next door to Brian, all of him and his crew decide that this man is up to something, and they begin to investigate him. And their investigation leads them into many adventures, and then even forcing them to be heroes in the action-packed ending.
Wow, you've set that up very well. All right. I must admit that my son was one of the most creatively mischievous little boys around. So I think he could relate to this story real well. Um, I expect our listeners would really love for you to read an excerpt from that. Could you do that?
Sure, absolutely. The beginning of the book sets the scene for all of the mayhem that will come later with the boys. They're always getting into trouble. And the very first chapter starts off with a bang, so to speak. So I'll go ahead and start reading from chapter 1. Run, run, run. I crash into my friends who stand behind me. The tiniest spark I ever saw had flown out of a lighter I'd found earlier near a trash can, landing on one of the town's official 4th of July fireworks. I spin around to get away and knock the lit rocket over. It shoots down the line of preset fireworks and catches on a metal frame that holds up smaller rockets. This causes it to spin and fly off. We dive down to the gravel as the explosion sends showers of sparks around us. I told you to leave that lighter alone. Tim stands to look back at the mayhem. We stand with him as more rockets sizzle off into the sky. Startled, firefighters shout at each other, and one with a helmet shouts at us. He rushes toward us, but fireworks that fell over shoot in different directions, and rockets explode over people in lawn chairs in a nearby field. The fireman does an instant U-turn toward the screaming people, forgetting about us. Josh and Shorty pull Tim and me toward a concrete bench not far away. The 4 of us army crawl under the bench as the set of fireworks shoot off. Explosions send showers of sparks into the air while more rockets ignite on the ground. The view from under the bench might not be as good, but at least we're safe here. Fireworks explode in all directions for several minutes. Josh lets out a long whistle when one of them explodes near us. The firefighter who saw us runs in our direction again. His look of surprise and panic has vanished, and boy, is he mad. We try to make a run for it, but it's too late.
Well, sounds like lots more fun coming up there. Jill, what inspired you to start writing?
I think my love for reading has shown me that the impact a story can have on someone's life, and especially kids. Since I've always loved to talk and tell stories, becoming a writer just seemed like a next step for me. I began writing stories in middle school, and those stories were filled with drama and tragedy, very typical of what a middle school girl might think up. I still have those notebooks, and they are a lot of fun to read for me now.
Well, how about Bomb Squad? Did you have any inspiration for your characters in that book?
I had tons of inspiration for that. My life has been filled to overflowing with mischievous boys. My grandsons, students I've taught, friends from when I was a young person. Mischievous, but good heart. That's the important part about my boys. Some of my former students that had special needs longed for friendships. And so when they came to my school, some of them experienced true friendship for the very first time. And so I wanted to show that in the books: loyalty, forgiveness, and being tolerant of other people's faults or challenges. And those things make up Brian, Josh, Shorty, and Tim.
Well, those are all great traits for boys to learn. Which character in your series do you identify with the most?
A lot of people have asked, I've had that question before, and people have asked me that, and you would think it would be Brian, who is the main character, but it's actually Tim, who is one of Brian's friends. His character is a lot like I was as a young person. He's anxious. He gets nervous about a lot of things, but he wants to follow the rules as best he can. The problem comes in because he has surrounded himself with mischievous friends.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you have any more books planned for the Bomb Squad?
Yes, I do. I have 2 more planned. There's 3 in the series so far, and then I have 2 more. Holiday Havoc is already on the drawing board, and I have a lot of ideas for that one, but not a lot of writing completed on it yet. And then book 5 will complete the series, and that would be 1 year in the life of my characters. The first book starts on July 4th, and the last book, book 5, will end on July 4th the following year.
Well, Jill, what else would you like our listeners to know about you?
My life involved homeschooling my two daughters for 10 years. And then I decided to attend college, and I started at the age of 39, and which they called you a non-traditional student. I was older than some of my professors. I've worked at the local library as the youth services coordinator, and I was able to purchase books every month for the youth area, and that was a dream job for me. I've also worked at our local elementary school, and I even began in my own small private school, and I had that for 6 years. And now my latest adventure is writing. I've authored the 3 middle grade mystery adventure books, The Bomb Squad, and they're published through Elk Lake Publishing. And I also have children's prompted journals and adult gratitude journal that I have self-published.
Wow, you've had a full life thus far, and there are lots of things that you have for people to read. Do you have a newsletter or website?
I do. It's super easy to remember. It's just author JillChapman.com. And I have a newsletter that people can go and sign up for. And then I have some freebies on my website as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jill.
Well, this is a series I intend to read, and I think our listeners will want to as well. Where can listeners find your books?
My books are available on Amazon or any online store where books are sold.
Thank you, Jill and Jim. This is Anne Green again. Thank you for a great interview. Jill, your books sound exciting. Listeners, please check out Jill's series, The Bomb Squad. Go to Amazon.com, put Jill Chapman, Chapman, in the search bar, and her series, The Bomb Squad. So we're so glad that you joined us today. We loved having you, listeners, and hope you meet with us next week when we will spotlight multi-published, multi-award-winning author, me, Anne Green, discussing my Christmas anthology, Love at Christmas. You won't want to miss my exciting interview and hear about 4 delightful Christmas, cheer-filled novellas wrapped up in one anthology. In the meantime, read a good book, hopefully one you heard of here on our podcast, We've Got Books. And share with your friends how fun and informative our podcasts are. We have over 40 interviews with your favorite authors about their books, and we know you'll discover some you love. So listen again to We've Got Books, and have a splendid, blessed week.